Madison. I'm just. How you guys doing? Mook, good to see you.
Well, I think the first thing people might want to ask you about is the match and the golf that's going on and how that all came about for you and what you're thinking about it.
Well, I'm excited. I love golf. I love competition, and be teaming up with Pat against two of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. I think it's going to be a pretty fun competition for us. Looking forward to it, and at the same time, going to do some cool donation stuff with it, and jumped at the opportunity when I was asked.
How did it happen, Josh?
Well, I think this thing's been going for a few years now, and I think people really just, people want to watch not just professionals play golf. When you throw out some amateurs and get to watch them golf, I think it relates to people. And again, to get out there and talk some smack to Aaron and Tom, people are gonna love that, and I'm gonna love doing it. So I'm excited for the opportunity.
Josh, golf aside, how do you now approach this offseason? It's the first, Brian Daboll's no longer here, and how do you now approach that in your first offseason in which you're familiar with the new offensive coordinator, but it's the first time you've had a new coordinator during your NFL career?
Yeah, I think the big takeaway that I've gotten already is just asking as many questions as possible during these meetings that we're having now. Trying to get on the same page, understand what he's thinking, why he's calling a certain play, and I think that's why me and Dave's had, such success. It was just I understood why he was calling plays. He understood the concepts I liked, I didn't like. So having that open line of communication with Dorsey, and Dorsey's not Dave's. Dave's isn't Dorsey. He's his own man. He's going to have his own wrinkles to this offense, and I'm excited to see what he can do. He's worked his tail off to get to the position where he's at right now. Um, but asking those questions and having that open line of communication of, hey, I don't really like this concept and this and that. And for the most part, he knows that because he's been around, me for 3 years and vice versa. And I'm looking forward, to being able to run some plays that he's calling. And, I've got no doubt that he's going to be successful at what he does.
How much do you have to take to account that, sure, he knows you, you know him, but you also, at the outset, there's got to be a give and take, and you have to respect that where his instincts may lie, and the fact that there has to be some give and take, and he is essentially the boss in some ways.
Absolutely. And as a quarterback, I'm just the extension of the offensive coordinator. Whatever he's trying to call on the field, I got to go out there and understand why, and then try to go out and execute it, and kind of be that relay between the other players and what he's trying to call. So, but again, having these meetings now, and just like I said, asking as many questions to Joe, and there's some things that we're switching up. There's some things that we're probably going to keep the same. But again, we won't really know until we're actually calling plays, whether it's in training camp or in preseason, and trying to get that feeling down of the flow. And I know you guys might think it's crazy, but just even hearing a different voice in my head, my headset, it'll take some time to get used to. But like I said, I got supreme faith in what Dorsey's capable of, and the offensive mind that he is. And he's been great so far. I don't expect anything less.
Josh, we see what's going on around the league with, Tyreek Hill and the trades and all that. Now Debo Samuel asking for a trade. To get the Diggs deal done and to know what it is, what did that mean for you guys, especially now, having it done and moving forward from there?
Well, I'm super excited about it. I'm happy I get to keep my guy here, and there's a lot of different ways that could have played out, and I'm thankful that he likes his place enough to call this his home for hopefully the next 6 years, and to have again the corner piece of our receiving core come back. And I know we're adding a couple guys, we're subtracting a couple guys, but we all understand what type of player Stephon Diggs is, and he's one of the best, if not the best receiver in the game, and what he's able to do for this offense and open up different areas for us, it's key, you know. And again, having Dorsey, who knows him, the same verbiage, things of that nature, it's only going to, you know, help our offense that much more. So another year down with him, more to learn from him and his body language and what he sees and what I see, and try to pair those up together. You know, it's going to be good, and to have a full now real off-season training camp going into it, I think it's going to be great. You know, and I'm excited again to continue to throw to our guys.
Josh, I think we saw the video of you talking to Vaughn on the phone as he was making his decision, and you were kind of recruiting him to an extent. When you were having that conversation, did you think it was actually something that could happen? And then once you found out the news of it happening, what was your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, I worked my tail off to try to get him here. You know, now I'm thankful that he's here. You know, he's been a heck of a player in this league for a long time, and you know, shows no signs of slowing down. You know, he's one of those guys that you have to count for him in every protection. You know, so to have that on the other side of the on the defense now, and you know, force the ball out maybe a little quicker and allow our corners and safeties to be a little more aggressive, and you know, it just kind of changes the whole dynamic of a defense when you've got a guy that you have to focus so much attention on. And even for our young guys like Greg and Boogie and AJ to learn from a guy like that, I think that's going to be super helpful, not just for the coming years, but the years after that as well.
Hey Josh, you know, there's some guys who aren't going to be here because it is voluntary. There are some quarterbacks in the league who don't always show up to voluntary. What is your stance on the fact that you're here? Do you feel like you have to be here as the quarterback of the team?
Absolutely not. I don't feel like I have to be here. You know, there's a lot of these unwritten rules and that people live by, and I know in baseball they're prevalent, and people always complain about those unwritten rules. And I'm a Giants fan, so that got poked at a few days ago. But yeah, I don't feel like I need to be here, but I absolutely want to be here. I love hanging out with the guys and developing these types of relationships that you don't get otherwise. I love going to camp and staying at St. John Fisher for those 2 weeks or whatever it is, staying up, playing cards, video games, whatever it is, developing that camaraderie. And again, we're in Buffalo. We're not in a big city and a big port where you can just fly out to anywhere you want to. And I think there's a lot of good in that, especially when it comes to developing a football team where guys got to hang out with each other, guys got to go over and play cards and watch TV and watch movies and go golfing together. And I think that develops a stronger bond between teammates, which pays dividends on the field, in my honest opinion.
Josh, some pieces returning, Stephon Diggs getting them locked up, but there's some pieces that aren't going to be here. John Feliciano, Darrell Williams, and then Cole Beasley. Can you just talk about what those guys have meant to you, Cole specifically, over the last couple of years?
Yeah, all three of those guys I think got here a couple of years ago, and really helped change the culture, you know, of this organization. And they're going to be greatly missed. I developed some real deep relationships, obviously with Cole, him being my receiver, and him being my safety valve really for the last few years. So that's going to be, again, you can't really replace something like that. You'll find new ways to help support that. But you know, I freaking love those guys, and you know, it's sad to see them go. And you know, I'm going into year 5 now, which has flown by, and it's, you know, starting to become, you know, I'm starting to see the business side of this league, and it's not fun to see guys turn over and play on different teams, but at the same time, that's the nature of the beast that we play in, and to understand that and just kind of roll with the punches and focus on what we can control.
Josh, headed into year 5, what do you think that you have to do to take your game to that next level, and what do you think is the biggest question mark surrounding this team right now?
I mean, question mark. We gotta get over the hump in the playoffs, and you get into the playoffs by winning your division, and we got to continue to find ways to come out a little stronger out of the gates. I think myself especially, making sure I'm on time, making the right reads, and giving our guys you know, good enough balls to get some more rack. And you know, that's one thing I think on offense. You know, run after catch wasn't very high last year. But again, that's me putting the ball where it needs to be and allow our guys to catch it in a good position to to make a run after the catch. So working on that. That's been one of my biggest takeaways in this offseason, and trying to work on just ball placement and allowing our receivers to do that.
How do you square or digest 3 months later how the season ended?
Yeah. Again, everybody wants to talk about that, and it is what it is. It happened. There's no going back. If it was 3 months ago, might as well have been 10 years ago. So we've completely turned our focus towards this next season and trying to figure out how do we take that next step. How do we win that Super Bowl? And again, every team's goal should to be win the Super Bowl every single year. And it's 31 teams that are going to be unhappy at the end of the season. So again, we got to find a way to get to it and win it. And I'd be lying if I said like that's what drives me. It's to win a Super Bowl and get it done. And we're gonna exhaust all valves of option in order to get that done. And with what Bean and Coach McDermott are doing, supplying us with who we think are the right guys in this building. The training staff, the weight room, everything plays into it. So that's why you see so many guys here right now putting in that work to accomplish the goal that we want to accomplish.
What are your favorite first impressions then of working with Joe Brady?
I've loved it. He's a big office guy, so I don't know if you guys have ever seen my Twitter, but I like The Office. I like the GIFs. But he's very relatable. He's very energetic in our meetings, and we've only had 2 meetings, but just the vibe that he gives off is really cool. And he's been around a lot of different types of offensive minds, and he's one of those guys too that just I don't know how long he's going to be here as a quarterback coach, because I'm sure he's going to have opportunities to be an offensive coordinator again. I know he was with Carolina last year, but just the things that he's able to talk about and the things that he sees, it's very impressive, especially from a guy that's so young. And I'm glad we have him.
Did you talk with Jordan Palmer again this offseason?
Yeah, I did. I worked with him a little bit. Not so much just throwing, but hanging out and just talking through some things. And he's always a great friend of mine, a great teacher, a mentor, whatever you want to call it. He's just like a big brother to me. So I got to spend some time with him this off season, and probably not as much as I would like to. We were bouncing around quite a bit this off season, but now we're here. We're locking in.
What areas did you focus your training on this offseason?
Like I said, ball placement, allowing our receivers to catch and run. That's an area of improvement that I've got a direct hand in. So I got to be better in that. And again, towards the end of the year last year, I felt comfortable in what we were doing. But again, just trying to find out how we can get to that level of comfortness, or I don't even know how to say the word. But how do we find that level of comfortness earlier in the season and start out the gates hot? So that's something we'll be continuing to look at.
Have you talked to Pat since the match announcement through all this process? And how has your guys' relationship evolved over the years, especially with the battles that you've had in the playoffs?
Yeah, we've texted a little bit, and we're excited. Gotta take the graybeards down. But I think he's playing. He told me he was playing the same course like the week or 2 before, so he's got to give me the layout. And we're not doing this just to do it. We want to win. He's as competitive as I am, as well as the other 2 are. So it'll be fun. Hopefully, it makes for some good content while people are watching. But we want to win.
When you have new coaches and teammates coming in, how do you do you reach out to like for Joe? Do you reach out to Sam and see what his experience was like working with him in Carolina? Like, how do you get to know the people you're going to be working with?
Yeah, and I actually spent, obviously, I live near and around Sam and Kyle, but I spent a lot of time with him, as I do every offseason. And he had just great things to say, not only about him, but bringing in a couple of different guys. Jameson Crowder, for one, he was with him in New York and just had nothing but great things to say. So when you have, like I said, this is year 5 now, and you're starting to get some overlap and guys that have played with teammates and friends and this and that, and we're super excited, again, to have the additions that we have, because they're right cultural fits for this organization, and they're heck of players on the field, and coaches in the staff. So it'll be fun to try to mix this and get things rolling. And that's why we're here right now, trying to get all this camaraderie up and learn about people and develop those relationships.
Josh, going back to Abel's departure, the fact that you had 4 years with him, do you think the 4 years maybe makes you more, I don't know, comfortable or ready, or prepared that you had those 4 years to knowing that he was gonna go at some point, you know? Like, do you think it's a better, you're more comfortable or more confident in yourself, in having had those 4 years where you are now than, say, if he had been hired a year ago?
I think so. Again, Dable's he's been around the block. You know, he's been under a lot of different coaches, and he's been in this league for a long time. So the knowledge that he was able to pass on, and just different concepts that he would show, tidbits of information of not just football, but how to handle being in certain situations around certain people, and stuff that, you know, you can't learn unless you've been in those situations. So for him to kind of give that to me, it's been awesome. And again, every coach that I'll have throughout my career will have these same thing, tidbits of information. But from it to come from him and being around some of the great minds of football like Coach Saban and Coach Belichick, you know, it means a lot because it's some of the best to ever do it, like I said. So to take that and try to apply it to my game and to what we're doing here, it was extremely helpful. But again, the same verbiage that we're using is a huge piece, and especially for me, just so I'm not learning a digit system or thinking trips right is one thing when it's actually something different in someone else's offense. So I'm thankful that Dorsey's keeping the same verbiage and terminology. And again, there's going to be a lot of different things we do. There's going to be probably a lot of same things that we do. But ultimately, it's just trying to find the right ways to get it into our playmakers' hands and allow them to be as successful as they can be.
Have you gotten to know any of this year's quarterback class? Do any of them work with Jordan, with you?
Desmond Ritter. Yeah, there's a couple guys, Carson Strong, Jerry Garantano, Jarrett, and he's got a good group out there. But Desmond, he's a good dude. I don't know how the quarterback draft is going to fall. I really haven't been paying that much of attention to it, but I'll give my spiel on him. He can spin it with the best of them. He's big. He can move. Not only that, he's a great person. Yeah, I won't go too far into that.
Since you were drafted, it's
Yeah.
crazy to think about that, right? Like, those guys, whether it's to him specifically, what would you give advice to these guys coming out this year after going, what was it like for you?
I mean, it flies by. Like I said, it's year 5 for me now. This is crazy. I remember sitting up here, you know, the day after the draft and talking to some of you here. It flies by. You know, you're going to take your lumps. It's like I said, bowl games are different than playoff games. You know, there's so many different bowl games now. You win your last game and you're feeling good. Here, only one team wins their last game. So it's a long, grueling season. You got to take care of your body. And then on top of that, just the mental aspect of how to navigate being a professional football player and daily life of a pro. And it's something it's easy to do if you find the right people to believe and trust in and put your faith in. So that's my advice.
What was your reaction to the rules change for overtime in the playoffs?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Year too late, but no, I'm just playing. Again, I didn't hate the rule. I don't know if people think that I had something to do with it, but it just happened to be us that year. And like I said, I alluded to it after the game. I think the Kansas City Chiefs were in the same position the year before they won the Super Bowl. The Patriots beat them in overtime. They didn't get to see the ball. So it is what it is. Whether we're in that situation again, I guess now we'll have a chance. But there's things that we could have done throughout the game that would have maybe limited that opportunity and allowed us to maybe not go into overtime. So, again, there's many ways you can look at it, but now, you know, the other team gets a chance, so I think that's cool too.
So if it becomes known as the Josh Allen rule or the Josh Allen clause, are you going to be okay with that?
Yeah, I don't really want it to be, you know. I love football.
How has this quarterback room been as a whole? I know you knew Matt before, but just working together with everyone, what has this group been like?
It's been great. I got to play with Case at the American Century golf tournament a few years ago. I got to talk with him there, and we golfed the whole round. So I'm familiar with him, and now having him in the room, it's been great. He's awesome. He likes to laugh and joke like we do in our quarterback room. We try to keep it as light as possible. And Matt, he just knows the deal. Spent some time with Matt in the off season too. I live about 25 minutes away from him, and I'm glad we get to have him and his family back too. They're one of our favorites. And again, but Joe, what he's able to bring to the table there as well. It's a good vibe, and I don't see it getting bad, and it's only going to get better from here, which is a good thing.
Josh, how beneficial is these phase 1 workouts, and what new face in this locker room has caught your attention?
I think, well, the benefits, obviously, I love competition, and I love being around the guys and competing. If I was by myself still in Orange County, I'd probably still be golfing and not working out as much as I should. So it allows me to be in the building and doing the right things, and I think that's with a lot of guys too, that they're in here doing the right things, getting treatment on their body, not eating as much as they should. That's a big thing. And then you said new face that's caught my attention in the building. OJ Howard, he's a big dude. Like, I saw him running today, and it was just like, I don't want to be in front of that guy. And we got some big tight ends that are scary looking when they got the ball in their hands. So it'll be fun. Thank you guys.